Alright, we are going on a walking tour around Santiago de Compostela. See that beautiful church right over there. Our hotel is actually that building right in the back. Now, if you can see, there's like one road that goes this way, there's another road that goes that way, there's another road that goes this way, but it's kind of like, it looks like the sun with a rays. The local symbol of Santiago is actually a scallop shell. So all these rays right here, they all lead to the center. They represent the caminos. Caminos means ways. So as you know, religious pilgrimages actually make their way here to Santiago. In the past, it was really more for religious reasons, so that they could see the resting place of St. James, or in Spanish, Santiago, who's buried right in there. All those 6 rays right there represent, like, there's the French way, there's the Portuguese way, there is the North way, I'm flashing it right here, I can't remember, but basically if you kind of look at the map of the world, especially in Europe and neighboring countries, you know, coming from Italy, there are different ways on how to get here, and the last and final stop would be right here in the town square. This is like the main square of Santiago de Compostela, and right behind me, that's our hotel, and that is called Paradores. I'll tell you more about later. That is a government building. That is the main church. Unfortunately, it is being renovated on the inside, but beautiful on the outside. Will be completed 2021. And right across me, all the way to the other side, is a university. More info to go. Guys, when it's a walking tour, you gotta be fast. Quick. But thank God, because this is a private tour, they're kind of waiting for me. So let's go. Okay, so I've been walking around so far and I see a lot of jewelry shops, accessory stores, and they're selling like this black stone. And at first I thought it was onyx, but it's not. It's actually called a JETSTONE. It's made of carbon. Now, dating back from the pagan times, apparently, so the pilgrims used this stone. They would find it along the way from Asturia. I think Asturia is like the neighboring town or the neighboring city, and they would use it as sort of like an anting, or sort of like an amulet or a source of protection for their journey. And then when they get here, they would ask like masons to carve them out to look like this hand, and it looks like this. So the hand is basically a symbol of protection, and they call it figa. Now you know. Okay, we're making our way. So I found out, if you guys have ever heard Mass or you go inside the church or whatnot, I'm sure you've heard of the word incense. So incense is a very distinct smell. Honestly, it's not my favorite smell, but that is a smell of heaven compared to, I guess, like the bad odor back then. You know, you have to think, like, during the Middle Ages, you have pilgrims who are on this long journey, and apart from that, they didn't exactly shower. I mean, back in the day, they didn't find it as so imperative to actually, like, you know, wash themselves, exfoliate, scrub themselves, and whatnot. And the cathedral was always a source of protection, literally, so they could actually, like, sleep there to rest. And so just imagine all the pilgrims with that concentrated odor inside. And oh boy, that whiff of that was not so pleasant, right? Very pungent. So they actually had this giant like incense thing. Imagine the thing that they're doing Mass, but it was so giant, and they would swing it inside the cathedral. It was so big that it would take 8 priests to get it going and 8 priests to stop it. So it was just basically to mask the odors. When you think about it, it's what perfume is, it's what incense is. It is really as a form, as like to create some pleasant aroma. Okay, now recently my sister told me that altar boys actually had put marijuana inside the incense thing. I know that's not funny, but I think it's funny. It's funny, but it's not funny. I have nothing against marijuana, but I do have, it's kind of not cool when you do it in church. Oh my god, guys. So our tour guide Mary didn't tell us exactly what happened to them, whether she's being diplomatic or she really doesn't know, but I'm sure they got in trouble. But talk about getting pumped. So it's actually a nice thing, as I told you, because the incense thing right now is not really available to see because of the renovations that are going on inside the church. We're just really blessed because up until last year there was so much scaffolding outside the church, but now as you can see the facade is like so clean, it's fresh, it's updated, it's so beautiful. Thank goodness. Oh whoa, it's really empty. It's really under construction. Like it's actually really cold. It feels so good because it's so hot outside. So mom says I didn't do it, but when you go over the stairs, there's a statue of St. James, and you hug him from behind and you whisper in his ear whatever it is your intention. You say a little prayer and you give thanks. I didn't know that. I thought you just pass and just see the altar from the inside. And then on the other side, when you get down, there's like a few steps. There's like a little prayer room, and it says Juan Paulo II. So I guess that means that Pope John Paul II, when he visited this church, that's where he actually offered a prayer. And so you can leave like notes, light a candle, very small. So that's the back of the church. You can actually see a bit of the scaffolding. At least the front part is good. Now, on the other side, this was a convent. Now, the convent, of course, there were the nuns. They were the protectors of the church, and basically to take care of the church. It's kind of like in the Philippines, we have this thing called the mother butler. In a way, that's exactly what they are. They're the ones who help us form a line so that they fix the flowers for the altar. They get everybody together. They help find the seating and so on and so forth. Okay, so when you think about the Vatican, it's like one massive religious complex. And then I find out that Santiago de Compostela is one of the three, part of the Holy Triangle, which is also another religious complex. So it's the Vatican, Santiago de Compostela, and the last one is, any guesses? I didn't even know. Jerusalem. Okay, and to represent the ones of the Holy Triangle is the Holy Door, which is right there. So the Holy Door, what does it do? It's basically, they say that when you pass the Holy Door, that all your sins are forgiven. Now, how I wish we could always walk in the Holy Door just like that. But no, there's actually a holy day for it, which is July 25, but that's not every year. It's July 25, only if it falls on a Sunday. And I believe the Pope even comes to like bless it and stuff like that. So I believe that only happens every 10 years. So remember I was telling you guys, you know, when you're going on your way in your Camino and all the pilgrims, I'm sure a lot of them, it was an arduous journey and they all want to make sure that they're going the right way or the right Camino. So this bell tower that we see here, or we can hear right now, at the very top, there's actually a light, because that is a lighthouse. Now, when we think of lighthouse, we actually think for ships to find their way. But this is a lighthouse that only turns on and goes around during, I think, the Holy Year, I believe so. And that it was basically to show, or a symbol to the pilgrims, come over here, we're right over here. Alright, nowadays, in order for you to complete the the journey as a pilgrim. You know, you can't just say that, oh, I went on the pilgrimage from to Santiago de Compostela. It's like, where's your proof? Like, how do we know that you actually walked that long way? Well, everybody has a different itinerary. Let's say you have 3 days to complete it, you have 3 months, you have whatnot. But the point is, there are certain stops. It's kind of like you have a passport where you get a stamp at like different places, like different pit stops, just to show that, okay, you've been here, check. You've been to that place, check. And then to another place, and check. And then finally, you get your very last stamp when you get here to Santiago de Compostela. Now, but back in the past, they didn't have that system. So a lot of the tourist souvenirs that you can see here, it's kind of like shell. There's an umbrella, there's like a cane with the scallop. And then that scallop, they would hang it on whatever, their bag or whatnot, or something, and just it's like a symbol for them that I'm on the pilgrimage, I'm a pilgrim, I'm on my way to Santiago de Compostela. So that is the entrance of the church, Cathedral of St. James or Santiago. Okay, now on this right-hand side, there's like adjacent building to it. And the thing that I learned is, actually, do you see all those sculptures right there? Okay, not just for this church, but in churches in general, which was such a game changer. I'm only finding this out now. Did you guys know that sculptures that you see in church inside on the outside were kind of like ancient comics, because not a lot of people knew how to read back then, because reading was for the rich, for the elite, for the privileged, and so the sculptures right there would actually show you or tell you a story or whatnot. Another thing is, like for example, you see that guy over there, that guy over there, that guy over there. There's a lot of that along these walls. Now those are the busts of the donors of the church. So it could be kings, it could be queens, it could be me, it could be like Papa John's, I don't know. It could be all these different people who are basically helping the church, helping build the church, maintain the church. Okay, so Ru de Reina. Reina means queen. So you know how like a lot of religious people, my mom has done this as well. Even when we were in Rome, we did it in Scala Santa. It was very, very painful, where you use your knees, do a lot of kneeling, and you use it rather than your feet to walk, as sort of like a sacrifice. So the queen would actually use that alley right there all the way down to the middle square, the main square in Santiago, on her knees. And imagine, in the Middle Ages, this road is already painful. I wonder what that road must have looked like. Damn. So what kind of souvenir goods are you gonna find here? Well, you're gonna find the camellia. There's like perfumes, soaps, dried flowers, whatnot, and then of course there's the scallop shells that's engraved that says Santiago. They come in magnets, and then there's also like the things like for traveling, like the hoodies, the beanies, the scarves, and it has like an arrow, or it has like the scallop shell, meaning to say this way. Are you guys learning? I'm learning, because if you're not, watch it again. Take notes. You play on repeat.
Almond cookie.
Yes, I do. Thank you. So it's just basically, it's an almond cookie. I'm all about the fruity samples. Okay, so what food are you gonna find here in Santiago de Compostela? There's a lot of seafood because we are by the port. Are we? Anyway, she said that we are. I can't even remember because I was asleep coming here. But yeah, we actually are. Slightly. Are we? It doesn't matter. The point is there's a lot of seafood here. So their paella is actually a very del mar, like of the sea type of, because there's different types of paella. There's usually with chicken, with chorizo, and blah, blah, blah. But this one has seafood. Camellia trees. Oh my God. I actually thought they were roses. When we actually went to Sintra, to the Palace, these were the trees I took a photo of and I took a video of, and I thought they were roses. And I even thought, don't roses come from shrubs like low? And now I know these are camellia. They're so beautiful. So we just crossed the intersection. She just wanted to show us there's the part here that's the Old Town, and this is just basically to show you the difference, and if you do want to do a lot of more walking because it's like a park and there's a lot of benches as well, you can grab a sandwich from the Old Town and come here and just sit down, people watch, and then take your dog. But then we said that we wanted to go back to the Old Town and learn more about it. So here, listen to me. So torrija, that bread that looks soggy right there, you know, in the US and the Philippines, we call it French toast. And French toast, or torrija as they call here. So back in the day, the pilgrims would have all this bread, right? And we all know what stale bread is like. When it gets really hard, it gets really, really tough to eat. So what they would do is they would soak it like in egg and milk and all that to sog it up. Huh. Now you know. So this is the Santiago cake. Yes, by the way, this is Mary. She's our tour guide. Okay, so what is inside the Santiago cake?
Well, inside the Santiago cake we can find eggs, sugar, and almonds.
So it's sweet.
Yes.
Okay, so let's give it a try. It has the symbol of St. James, which is the cross that doubles as a sword.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's good.
It's like a pound. Sorry, it's like a pound cake with powdered sugar. Yeah. There you go. So next time I can make a cake and just put the stamp of St. James and call it a Santiago cake.
Yes.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
So this is the oldest street, and it's called, I forgot, something de Villar, like village. Okay, now you can see all these archways right here. So they're covered walkways basically. Now in the winter, the weather is so harsh and it rains a lot. So they would actually use these walkways as a way for you to be protected without having to get wet. And then do you see that hole right over there? And there's another one here. It is basically, okay, so if you see on my left hand side, there's like shop houses. And, you know, in Singapore, there's a lot of places that actually have where the first floor is like a shop, and then the second floor is like the residential area. So these were peepholes because people didn't really live in the first floor. So they would use that if somebody's knocking on the door, they're gonna peep down at that peephole to see who the fuck is that. I'm kidding. Who is that? Oh, it's you, my friend. Come in. Benaki, mi amor. Okay, guys, so in this whole area, this is the narrowest street from the 12th century. It is called, and forgive me for my Spanish R, even I fail this in Spanish, gosh, Ruela entre Ruas. And Mary, how do you say it?
Ruela de entre Ruas.
Exactly. That's what I said. All right, let's go. Okay, so this church in front of us that we have here is the only church in Spain that is dedicated to the mom of Saint James, and her name is Maria Salome. Now, what makes this so unique is because there are three like statues at the front. On one statue is actually showing Mother Mary pregnant, and then at the top you actually show Mother Mary and she's breastfeeding Jesus. Lovely. Promote breastfeeding, people. Formula is the last way to go. Okay, so this is like the part of the university. I'm guessing this is sort of like the end of the tour already because we've gathered like the different areas. I'm assuming. But anyway, so this guy, this statue right over here is Alfonso II. And apparently he was the very first pilgrim, guys. Oh, you can't really see. Damn, I said, was that what he was wearing during the pilgrimage? That was kind of sexy. He had no backpack or anything. So apparently he was a king. So I'm sure he had like a yaya doing it for him. So while we're waiting to get the next stop, I encourage you guys, please check out the other videos in my YouTube channel. It's not just it's not just travel. There's food, there's beauty, there's liposuction. There's a whole lot of things, but of course the focus is beauty. But more importantly, there's a lot of personal development, feel-good stuff, motivational stuff to help you get through the day with your life and whatnot. So there's a lot of laughs too. There's a little bit of everything. Now, I would love it if you commented on things that you actually want to see, because I'm always open to ideas. Let's hoping I can be Iron Man about it, make it happen. Okay, so now, I wish I recorded that. We actually passed like a couple of people eating out by the tables. Now, we've entered the market. Now, it's a Monday, so a lot of the stuff are closed, unfortunately. But if you can just try and imagine, you know, we have like fruit stand over here. You can see like the stuff there is like closed. But there's one area here that's actually pretty open so that we can see. So you buy your foods here, whether you take it home or you can eat it outside, just enjoy it under a nice hot day. Okay, I just learned that on Mondays they don't sell fish. Why? Because on Sundays, especially here and in a lot of places of Europe, it's a holy day. It's considered a holy day and a rest day. So a lot of people are resting. So the fishermen, they're not out to fish and selling their goods. So on Mondays, no fish. All carne and queso and choo-choo and whatever. All right, and we finished the tour. We're here right back at the plaza, right at the main square. And if you take a look at these people like right behind me, they're actually pilgrims either that, I guess they just arrived, so they're resting. Some people are actually on their bike. I don't know if the people on the bike are one of the pilgrims or some of the pilgrims, but anyway. All right, so why is it called Santiago de Compostela? First, Santiago. Santiago is the Spanish way to say James. This is how it is from what I remember. So if you can just think of this, it's a big empty space right here. There's a church right there, all surrounded. Now, if you actually go outside the square, it's actually a hill. It's roads that lead down or up, roads that lead down. So this implies that we are on top of a hill. Now, back in the 1st or 6th century, it was like all forest, right? It was really, really barren and empty. And there was a farmer. He saw that there were stars shining so brightly in a certain spot of that hill. And he decided to call like a bishop or a priest and to like look into it. And so when they went to that spot where the stars were shining brightly, there they found the funeral, or rather the gravesite of James, Athanasius, and Theodore, his two followers. Hence, Santiago de Compostela, or James of the Field of Stars. Pretty cool, right? And look at this fountain. Okay, so the confession. I thought because it says Hotel de los Reyes Católicos, so that's like Hotel of the Catholic Kings, what's the thing you would think of when you see all this grandeur, right? And then I'm here and it's a 5-star hotel, so you would think, okay, maybe it was like a former palace that was turned into hotel. Guess again. It was a former hospital. So my mom was like, Bianca, they're not even using it anymore. Yeah, I know, but it means that a lot of people died here. But it doesn't matter. It's actually really pretty. You just have to not think about that it was a former hospital. Let's go. Okay, so I'm back here in the courtyard and I wanted to show you guys. Now, because this was a hospital once upon a time, they would give, you know, a lot of blood transfusion, or they would try and fight disease or whatnot. Of course, you know, when it's dirty blood, so to speak, they would have to, like nowadays, they would do transfusions, they would put dextrose, they would put all these tubes into your body, or they would try and extract that disease. Now, back at that time, the natural way to do it was through leeches. They would put the leech in a certain spot in your body to suck out all that toxic blood, and hopefully that was how they would heal them. And in this courtyard, this is the room right here. This is the room, I'm guessing, inside those doors where they would do those transfusions. Interesting. So it says here that the leech tank was used for centuries in medicine to bleed the sick and to reduce bruising. So this is a cubicle form part of the medicinal facilities of the Royal Hospital. So there are different wards. Okay, there you go. So this was a royal hospital. Amazing. So as you go inside all the different corridors of this hotel, there's like little stampedas, or like this thing right here all over the place. And it's sort of like, you know, a written history, just some trivia for you to know, oh, this room was that, this corridor was used for this was built for that. So at least you're not just looking at something, but you're learning something. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the tour of Santiago de Compostela around the old town. I hope you guys learned a lot from that, because I sure have. And if I got some dates wrong, some names wrong, some terms wrong, I'm really, really sorry. I mean, I am trying my best to share with you all the things I've learned, and I hope that you take something good from it. And on that note, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And until then, from Spain, I'm Bianca Valerio. Bye, guys.